So, good day everyone. So, we are the group 3 and we are going to tackle about the country, a Southeast Asian country which is the Singapore. So, Singapore is an first world country, which means it is a developed country, it is a full-grown country, it is rich country, not only in resources but also in politics and everything. So, let's proceed. So, Singapore is in English term, it is Singapore, and in Chinese, the first or most common language they are using is it is Xinjiapo Gongheguo. That na. So next is Singapore as Lion City. So Singapore is known for their Merlion. So kaning nasa ubos ning naay lion diri na nagabuga og water mo na siya ang Merlion. So, famous tourist spot na sila ha. Kaning nasa big picture mo na siya ang Marina Bay Sand and the smaller picture mo na dira ang kanang view during night. So, next slide is the splendid history of Singapore. So, in late 1818, Lord Hastings, Governor-General of India, gave tacit approval to Sir Stamford Raffles, Lieutenant Governor of Bencoolen, to establish a station at the southern tip of Malay Peninsula. So Lord Hastings, siya ang kanang nana sila ay government ay monarch position sa Great Britain. So wala sila duk na sila so kung nakakita na og movie nga Bridgerton, so dito na ang kanang Hastings na pangalan, tinuod na siya. Dito na nila gikuha. So, yan ang nagkuha sila og nanong nagkuha og approval si Raffles kay Hastings. It is because si Hastings kay dako-dako na siya ni Raffles. So, kailangan niya mananghid kay para dili siya matigi ba kanang yanong buhat-buhat man kana dili man na pwede ana. So, asa ning Bencoolen? Ang Bencoolen is a city in Singapore. So, city in Singapore siya. So, dili lang isa ka city ang naa sa Singapore. Though gamay kay siya, naa siya kanang lain-lain nga city and Bencoolen is one sa ilaha. So, next. So, in 1955, election under British Raj, rather, David Marshall became Singapore's first chief minister. So wala pa na-establish na ang country sa Singapore, under gyapon sila sa British India. Mo na siya ang meaning sa Ra. So British Ra is a period of direct rule over the Indian sub. So ang kanadang subcontinent daw sa India sa una, mo daw na siya ang ginarule daw na siya or kanang apil ay kanang territory gyapon na siya sa British government. So pag abot og 1955 na sila election na hitabo. So ang ilahang first chief minister or the prime minister is David Marshall. Mo na yang now. Mo na yang now. Next is splendid history. Again, self-government was attained in 1959. So, pag abot og 1959, dra pa lang sila pagkuan na mag-vote sila og sarili nilang leaders which is sila jud ang mopili, dili ang kanang gina-appoint sa monarch sa Great Britain. So ang kaning nasa kilid kay si Sir William Got, you know, and Mr. Lee Kuan Yew ang kanang prime minister nila, and siya ang kanang nakapabag-o og maayo sa Singapore. Siya kanan ang kanang sa under sa iyahang leadership kay dako kaayo ang pagbag-o sa Singapore economically. So next is asa man siya na-locate. So, asa man siya kung dili ka swito sa Asia, so makapangutana jud ka kung asa na siya dapit, kung asa siya dapit sa mapa sa Asia. Kay daghan man kay country sa Asia 'no. So, ang ang Singapore kay ginapatong-ana siya sa Indonesia and Malaysia. So, muna siya ang Malay tip of Malaysia. Kay muna siya gamay kay na siya na country. The next slide is kana mo na yahang mapa sa kinakadakuan nila na mapa mo na siya. So, dira nimo makita nimo dira ang kanang major road nila, ilang other road, river, seaport, airport, walang ilang airport, and yeah, next is top nationalities living in Singapore. First, Chinese. Next, Malaysian, Indian, and Eurasians. Mga siyang mga Europe Asian people. Na siya. So, 76% kay mga Chinese, 15% is Malaysian, 7.5 is Tamil, mga Indian, and 1.5 is mga Euro-Asians, mga mas lain-lain na. So, since ang top nationalities living in Singapore kay Chinese, so ang ilahang Chinese, Malaysian, Indian, and kanang Eurasian, ang ilahang top language spokens kay mga Chinese, Mandarin, Malay, Tamil, ug English. So, next slide is the present economy, GDP. Unsa man ang GDP? GDP is the total market value of all finished goods and services produced within a country. So, sulod sa ilahang countries. No? Na ang kanang within the year pag adako sa ilahang GDP percentage. So, 372.1 billion USD tung 2019. So, dako kay in a year. So, within a year sa isa ka gamay kaayo na country. So, impressive kayo siya. So, the GNI, next slide is GNI. So, what is GNI? GNI is the total income received by the country from its residents and businesses regardless of whether they are located in the country or abroad. So, GNI is gross domestic income. So, mga businesses nila sa gawas or kanang mga imported goods kana. So, nganong nindot man kaayo ang economy sa Singapore. Ang ilahang resources kay gamay ra man kaayo nga naman ang ilahang source of income kay ilahang top 10 nga trabaho kay accounting, aged care worker, cybersecurity specialist, data scientist, human resource professionals, customer service executive, marketing, sales, UI or UX professionals, help desk. Mao na ang kanang kasagaran. Mapansin nato help desk. Ang help desk diri sa atoa kay kanang mo na tawag information sa ilaha kay dako kay nagsweldo sa ilaha. Kay nga naman tourist spot man sila, naghan man sila og kanang mga tanawin, mga establishments na nindot kay sa panan-aw sa tao. Daghan kay tourist ang nagaadto sa ilaha. Mapa-Asian man yan o mga Eurasian or mga taga Europe, mga Westerners, daghan ang nagaadto sa ilaha. And the median salary of a worker there is $3,270. So, mga tagak na siya og mga 100K pesos. Within a year na siya, median lang na siya sa kanang pinakagamay nila na trabaho pero og dako kayo mong trabaho, boss ka didto abot og mga 600, 500,000 imong sweldo in peso. So, tapos sila rule. Yan ang inana man, yan ang dato man kaya ang kasagaran sa mga nakapuyo sa Singapore. because nasa 20% mandatory savings. So og butang nato dira ana imong sweldo, butang nato 10,000 imong sweldo, 20% ana imong savings. Dili pa jud na nimo mayon kana dili sa ko mag-savings. Ayun na lang sa sunod na lang sa dili na pwede himuon kay mandatory man siya, required tanan. So kanang ma mamatay man ka dira ana di kay kwarta. Next is the political system. Parliament, representative, democratic, republic political power is vested in the elected legislator, but the executive and legislative branches are not separate. The elected legislator parliament chooses the chief executive or prime minister. So, ang next slide which explains that ang cabinet members kinabuo niya ang parliament. So, ang parliament ang naa sa ang naa sa parliament kay mopili sila og ilang leader. Ang mapili nila na leader mao to ang ilang prime minister. So, ang prime minister either mag-appoint siya or mag-nominate siya ang mokuan sa president. Under sa iyaha ang president pero pareha-pareha lang sila og power. President and ang mga tao. Yan yan man na kanang ay balik sa sa slide. Kana ug mopili og isa ka nominated og isa lang ang mapili sa prime minister, mora to ang isa ka president. Pero og mag-nominate siya og duha or tulo or more nga candidates, mo tong pilion sa mo lang tong mapilian sa citizens. Walay choice ang citizens kung unsa to ang choice sa ilahang prime minister, mag-appoint lang o kung mag-appoint man lang siya dira og wala sila kaila, dili sila kabuot kay ang ilahang prime minister mo na gipili sa ilang cabinet. Ang cabinet sila ang nagpili ana, ang tao ang napili ana og member. So wala sila mahimo ana, wala sila dili sila kabuot. So og citizen ka sa Singapore, ang pinaka the best jud mo nabuhaton mopili ka og cabinet members nga tarong kay sila man ang mopili prime minister. Mao jud nay kanang pinaka the best nimo nahimuon. Next slide is the one party rule. Unsa ning one party rule? Ang one party rule kay ang president og ang vice president kay nara sa isa ka party list. Kunwari, wala nag-appoint ang prime minister, nag-nominate siya og duha, duha. Isa sa group A isa sa group B. Ang vice president ana na isa ug madaog ang president, ang vice president na iyang gi-appeal sa iyang election, appeal na jud na siya, daog na silang duha. Dili pwede na ang vice president kay nasa isa, ang president nasa isa, bawal na siya, dili siya pwede. So, dapat nasa isa ka party ang duha ka leaders. So the political parties naay consist of at least 10 political parties ang nasa Philippines, Singapore. So during general elections, a politician can be elected, nominated, or non-constituency. Non-constituency ang kanang mga napildi ba pero nindot kay sila og kanang mga backgrounds, nindot kay og kanang record mo na siya ginabutang po na nila sa government which is nindot siya sa for me nindot siya na program. So people are not voting for the person but they are voting for the party list because ang usa ka politician under man siya nag-apply siya sa usa ka party list. Pag wala siya nagtarong, ang party list ang maangin sa iyahang kabuang. So naay ka ng top 2 na political parties ang naa sa political parties. Next. People's Action Party and the Workers' Party. Ang mo na siya ang political party ni Lee Kuan Yew, ang first ay ang prime minister na kanang nakapanindot og maayo sa Singapore. So ang ilahang opposition kay ang Workers' Party. Ang sa Workers' Party dili kay siya as ina kanang maingon nimo na opposition kayo ba na kanang 50-50 jud ilang hatian sa politicians, pero ang hatian sa politicians kay naman ang out of 89 seats, 83 man ang nadaogan sa PAP. So 83 kabuok ang 83 politicians ang under sa PAP, tapos ang nabilin ato more to sa Workers' Party. So ang minority sila 6 lang yun, 9 or 6 lang yun. Wala na ang mabilin sila na tao. So next is the Singapore criminal justice system. So na sila upat ka buok pillar, which is the police pillar, the prosecution, the court. Last one is the correction. So let's give the floor to the next reporter.
Okay. Makita ko.
Yes.
So sa police pillar na ta. Sa police pillar nila, ang structure sa ilahang police pillar or organization sa police force is nag-base sa staff and line structures. Similar siya sa military nila. So ang ilang police force kay integral part pud ni siya sa Ministry of Home Service na naay motto na Setya Ban Bikil or loyalty and service. So ilang constitution of the police force is provided in Section 7 of the Police Force Act or PFA. It was first enacted in 1857. Ang highest authority of the police force nila is ang Commissioner of Police. Makita ko nagyaw-yaw? Okay, na makita na self.
Yes.
Sige, go.
Yes po.
So, ang police pillar sa Singapore, first is naa sila Singapore Police Force. Ta. Wait, skilag. Muna ilang first pillar sa muna ilang police pillar, Singapore Police Force. So, mura siya mura siya SWAT team dire. Sige, go. Muna ang police hierarchy. Ang police hierarchy nila is na-divide sa duha, which is ang senior officer o ang junior officer. Ang senior officer nag-occupy siya sa rank nga commissioner, deputy commissioner, senior assistant commissioner, assistant commissioner, deputy assistant commissioner, superintendent, deputy superintendent, assistant superintendent, inspector, and ang ilahang junior ranks Oh no. Wait lang ha. May ma-play. Ang ilahang junior ranks nag-occupy sa ranks na station inspector, station staff sergeant, corporal, and constabulary. Next is ilahang police units. First is ang police tactical unit. So sila ang responsible sa broad range of public order tasks, from dealing with civil disturbances to quelling violent riots such as kanang mga mag-rally good para sa atong nahitabo sa una. Second is special tactics and rescue. So ang STAR unit under siya sa SPF or Singapore's Police Force Special Operations Command. They are highly trained in handling armed criminal situations such as hostage rescue and high-risk protective security operations. So they are decked out in a mysterious mask, men in black ensemble. So these star officers, or professionally known as star operators, are deployed for highly specialized operations. Next is ang Police K9 Unit. Kani nga unit is formerly formerly Police Dog Unit nga ang specialist nila kay under sa direct command sa Special Operations Command. So it specializes in training of police dogs in explosive detection, drug relation cases, and helping detain criminals. So the Singapore K9 unit works in collaboration with the rest of the SPF and the home team. Next is the auxiliary unit or kanang mga additional helps na sa police units nila. First is ang crisis negotiation unit. So kaning crisis negotiation unit, ang specialty ani niya no kay kanang naga-lessen siya sa mga single cases or serious cases like sa mga suicide cases. Sila ang ginatawagan basta mga ingana para masettle ang isa ka problem with no physical kanang harm good. So especially trained police officers are called upon to diffuse life-threatening situations through verbal crisis negotiation techniques for a non-violent resolution. Next. Special Women Tasks Team or SWTT. So, behind aning Special Women Task Team is si Mary Von. Siya ang first female inspector nga months pa lang after na-recruit na siya katong March 1949. She was lauded for her capabilities and qualifications. So for many years nga niagi si Mary Von nag-continue gihapon siya as one of the police women nga naga-serve as a special commanding. So a post that no longer exists because female officers are no longer a separate contingent. So yet beyond the publicity, the pioneer batches of female officers were making important contributions to the force and their efforts resonate till this day. Next is the United Nations Peacekeeping Force. So, ang to enter the waiting room. So, the next one is United Nations Peacekeeping Force. Ang Singapore, nagabilib siya na ang kaninga unit kay naga-help para mas madako ang contribution sa international peace and security. So Singapore's military and police have taken part in 17 peacekeeping and observer missions. They said that they have been involved in these missions in various capacities, such as the provision of medical support, military advisors, and for national reconciliation. Next. The police organizations sa Singapore. First is ang Singapore Police Force, uniform organization under the purview of the Ministry of Home Affairs. So naa sila 5 broad areas of police work. First is ang frontline policing, second counter and or electronic services, investigation, community engagement, and public security order. So the mission of SPF is to prevent, deter, and detect crime to ensure the safety and security of Singapore. Next one is the Ministry of Home Affairs. Ang home team is constantly innovating to prepare ourselves or the people of Singapore to respond to security challenges and to strengthen the partnerships within the community to keep Singapore safe and secure. So sila ang kanang naga-manage atong niagi nga mga police units including sa Singapore Police Force. work around the clock to keep our home and loved ones safe amidst an increasingly complex security environment. Next is ang National Cadet Corps. So kaning National Cadet Corps is an organization that firmly believes in the development of character, leadership, and resilience. Kung diri pa sa tuwa, mura ni siya ganang PNPA Academy. Key. Next is through a myriad of activities, values such as discipline, loyalty, integrity, resourcefulness, tenacity, and civic consciousness are inculcated to develop members into caring and responsible citizens. So the Internal Security Department, it investigates and takes action to necessary in relation to the defined security threats of terrorism or politically involved or motivated violence. Example, kanang mga foreign subversions, mga espionage, kanang communal extremism. So, it is the task of Internal Security Department to confront and address these security issues and latent threats. Next is the immigration and checkpoint. So aside from border security, ang immigration and checkpoint or IC also performs the registration functions such as the issuing of travel forms, kana mga documents, mga identity cards sa Singapore citizens. So kanisad sila, nag-issue sila sa various immigration passes and permits to foreigners. As security agency, they also conduct operation against immigration offenders. So the Immigration and Checkpoints Authority is responsible for the security of Singapore's borders against the entry of undesirable persons and a cargo through land, air, and sea checkpoints. Next is the Police Coast Guard. So works closely with coastal stakeholders, the maritime community to prevent, deter, and detect any illegal entry to Singapore via territorial waters. Kaning Home Team Academy, ano ni silag mga students, naga-training gihapon sila same sa katong National Cadet Corps, pero mostly ata ani sa ilaha kay naay kanang subjects murag more napod sila yung mga ACADS good. Next is ang Criminal Investigation Department. Sila ang in charge sa nag-investigate sa mga serious crimes o sensitive cases such as murder, rape, bomb blast incidents, mga organized crime, mga syndicated casino crimes, o mga cybercrimes. Next is ang Special Constabulary. Kaning Special Constabulary, mga ano ni sila? Mga volunteer police officer. Ginahatag nila ilang free time in a voluntary basis, ginabalance sila ilang mga personal lives, mga sa family nila. Kani sila dili ni sila ginasulduan. Pero reimbursed for expenses. Kana ganing kung example na sila operation tapos na sila nagasto, ginailisan sila. They have the same police powers, uniforms, and equipments as regular police officers. Next is ang Gurkha Contingent. So today, the Gurkha Contingent is a unit in Singapore Police Force that serves as a neutral safekeeping and counterterrorism force. So they are reputed for their fearless military prowess and loyalty. The Gurkhas in Southeast Asia were initially brought to Singapore as special soldiers on the payroll of the British Army. So originally taga Nepal jud ni siya tapos giadto sila Singapore for additional security. Next is ang Central Narcotics Bureau. Central Narcotics Bureau is the primary drug enforcement agency with a clear and focused mandate to keep Singapore safe from the harms of drug inhalants. So naa ang Central Narcotics Bureau na siya 4 main strategies. First is the preventive drug education, the rigorous enforcement, treatment and rehabilitation for drug abusers, and lastly, the aftercare and continued rehabilitation for ex-drug abusers para mabalik sila sa community. So ang CNB pod took the responsibility of preventive drug education in addition to drug enforcement. Next is the crime rate. So nakita na to sa graph na nag-increase ang number sa crime rate nila. Sa 2019, the crime rate in Singapore increased by 16.3% to 35,294 cases from 32,126. So kani nga increase sa number of crimes nila is attributed sa rise in scam-related cases. So it's well known, di ba, that the Singapore has one of the lowest crime rates in the world. People might not know the reasons why. So ang reason lang jud ani is dagko silag fine even if minor offenses lang imong nakomit. Dagko jud silag fine mao bisag maglabay lang kag chewing gum sa kilid or mangluwa lang ka. Dagko na sila og kanang fine. Okay. Second, next di ay police stations. So ang Singapore na sila 20 ka police stations, kanang central something headquarters, Clementi Police Divisional Headquarters, kaning Sengkang Neighborhood Police Center, Orchard Neighborhood Police Center, Marine Parade Neighborhood Police Post, kaning Radinmas Neighborhood Police Post. Every center nila kay kasagaran na siya police post kay para maduulan dayon. So next, Jurong Police Division Headquarters, Jurong West Neighborhood, the Potong Pasir Neighborhood Police Post, Tanglin Police Division Headquarters, the Ang Mokyo South Neighborhood Police Center, the Divisional Headquarters, Ang Mokyo gihapon siya. So, ang total ato niya is 20 ka police stations. Lang ka naglag. Jota. So, ang criminal procedure sa Singapore is a private person can also arrest an individual who commits a non-bailable and seizable offense or is wanted by law enforcement and about whom notice has been given. So, the police will use reasonable force to make an arrest. Handcuffs may be employed. Pwede po din mo siya pusasan. And additionally, the person being arrested has the right to ask for identification of the police officer making the arrest and also for the reason of arrest, but only when it is practical to do so. The accused may be searched upon arrest. May arrest a person without warrant for any seizable offense and a complaint is received when there is no reasonable suspicion unless the person submits to custody by word or actions or verbally. Next is ang availability sa ilahang police automobiles. So ang various modes sa transportation nila, apil dito ang 414 marked and unmarked cars, 231 station wagons, 211 motorcycles, 230 scooters, and 150 heavy vehicles. So di jud katingalahan no anong gamay ra jud ang ilang crimes dito ay daghan kay police bitaw. So in addition, foot and bicycle patrols are regularly deployed by neighborhood police post officers. Katong gayinagod katong gipakita nako ana ay mga kada police center kinay post. Ang katong mga post mo sila kasagaran mag conduct of foot patrol. So motorcycles are used for traffic enforcement while cars and minibuses are used primarily for anti-crime patrols and escort duties. Next, ang ilahang electronic equipments. So, tanan operational centers kay link siya sa message switching system or SMS, the computer-aided dispatch system or ACD, and the local area network such as LAN. So, ang electronic equipment nila kay ginagamit sa mga pulis, apilid to ang telebox, fax, the financial administrative control system, the central personnel information system, portable transceivers, and cellular phones. So, ang computer nila, dili lang po siya ginayo sa pag mag-issue sila ka ng traffic tickets or mag-monitor sa traffic violation. Ginagamit po nila sa automatic fingerprint identification, which became operational in 1992. So, the Singapore Police Department is also equipped with a combined operations room which serves as the main command and control nerve center and has a call distribution system or ACD for handling emergency calls. So weapons. The 38 caliber revolvers, automatic handguns, rifles, pump actions, guns, riot guns, submachines, and smoke screens are used by the police force. Katong police tactical team kaganina called upon in armed offender in incidents. Ang ginagunitan ato nila is HK7 pistols o HKM5 submachine guns. Okay, next reporter.
Okay na? Diretso na ni.
Yes, Cedric. Cedric, sunod.
So, prosecution teller this. Next daw, next. Next. There's a rights of the accused and next. Right to be notified of the grounds of the arrest and right to consult and be defended by a legal practitioner of his or her choices. Right to remain silent in the course of a police investigation. Next. This is assistant to the accused. Civil cases. Civil cases is occur by way of action or application na nagaresulta siya og damage or injury. Next. Ay, no. Next. Sa legal aid. Then there's non-capital cases. Non-capital cases is a crime that is not punishable by death. Kanang for example is kanang mga cases niya is kanang mga theft of property or human trafficking. Kana mga ingana yung mga cases. See next. Capital cases. These capital cases is kanang naga-define siya sa death penalty, then this public prosecutors who conduct a criminal proceeding in the public interest kanang kuan siya kanang nagatag siya conduct sa kakuan na naga-proceed kuan ya naga kuan siya sana sa mga tao. Sige, next na. So, official who conduct prosecution. This attorneys general. Attorneys general is kanang sila ang mga kanang legal advisor kanang sa mga government and kanang gobyerno sa Singapore. Then naga-assist sila sa kanang mga kuan sa public prosecutor. So next. Kana mo na sila. Next. Sige ba? Sige pa. Bail. Bail is an accused may be released siya on bail if the offense is bailable of it the accused or the surety provides bail. Kanang na may there's kanang naay mga kaso nga kanang pwede lang nimo mag-bail ka o kanang maghatag lang ka kanang dili kay siya major na kaso. Then an accused may be released on the bail on the condition that she appears before the court or police until the case is complete and the person may not leave the country without permission from the court. So next.
I'm Dexter M. Palma, and I'm going to report about the court pillar or the Singapore court system. So, um, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land and establishes the fundamental frameworks for the three government institutions, namely the executive, legislature, and judiciary. So, the judiciary mo siyang diri na siya nakakompose ang Supreme Court and State Courts. Next slide. So District Court. So District Court is has the authority to hear and prosecute an action for the compensation of an amount or amounts not exceeding $250,000 or up to $500,000 in the case of lawsuits for traffic accidents or claims that for serious injury resulting from industrial accidents. So mo ni siya ang mga civil criminal cases na usually na mahitabo sa mga district. So next, magistrates courts. So the magistrate courts deals with the legal litigation containing charges worth not more than $60,000. So usually usually ang mga judges mas bugat ang mas bugat nga gina-impose ang district court kumpara sa magistrate court. Since na ang ilang compensation amount kay different, like sa district courts kay na siya $250,000 to $500,000. Juvenile court, a number of cases including abuse, abandonment, traffic offenses that was done by a young person or 14 to 16 years old. So mo ni siya ang kaning mga pang-aabuso na naghimo sa mga 14 to 16 years old. So ma-under ni siya sa juvenile jurisdiction. Next is the coroner's court, a small claims tribunal. So a small claims tribunal deals with the arbitration of small claims against buyers and retailers. So the selling of products or the supply of facilities and leasing for residential real estate for a period not exceeding 2 years. So next, family court. So this court deals with the family conflicts matters. So in which is associated by adoptions, abortion, child conflicts, separation of marital property, personal security orders, settlement, and joint conference. So this this family court was with the compliance of orders of Sharia court. Next is night court. Night court. So this court work convenience. So kani nga siya nga court gibuhat ni siya kay para sa mga person nga mga naitrabaho, like usually manggod kay ang trabaho sa mga tao is daytime. So this court was established in order to those people nga mga tao nga kaning nagatrabaho kay maka-attend siya sa kaning maka-participate siya sa court. First kay night court. Ang night court kay mo na siyang deals with mga summon and mga different department notices. Second, night court. So the content with a higher number of road and administrative violation that heard in state court. So next is the community court. Next one. The community court, this court tends to deal with those 16 to 18 years of age and 65 and above. Mo siya ang mga tao nga kaning na siya problema sa kaning mga na siya mental disabilities o kaning mga psychological problem. Next. Sharia court. So Sharia court, marriage and divorce disputes between persons who are either Muslims or who have married under the terms of Muslim law. So next is traffic court. The traffic court mostly considers and deals with traffic violation that was apprehended by Land Transportation Authority. So kung sa tuan at LTO mo nagitawag Land Transportation or kaning kuan mo nang gitawag sa to nga LTO ilhapod kay LTA. Dapat sila traffic police. Next so they have a good court system since they categorize those courts according to the case. Moreover, it can help also to focus on a particular case that tends to have accurate response. So next is the Court of Appeals, the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court Court of Appeals was headed by Judge of Appeal and Chief Justice, in which has judiciary of civil and criminal matters. So kung wala ang Chief Justice, na siya gina-appoint nga isa ka tao nga maghatag og judiciary about dara nga kaso. So next is the High Court. So High Court. So High Court has a composition of General Division and Appellate Division. The General Division handles among criminal and civil proceedings of civil and criminal cases. Appellate Division has no criminal jurisdiction and hears all illegal appeals that are referred to the Court of Appeal. So maro to. Next slide.
So, is a correction pillar is a called SPS, is a Singapore Prison Service, is a kini sila is a mainly concentrated in one vast prison housing. So, ang tawag sa ilang prison is the Changi Prison. It's a high-tech and a claustrophobic facility where prisoners rarely see the sunlight. Kanang usahay lang sila makakita og kanang araw ba kanang kuan. Nang bali kulong sila kanang nasila tago sila kanang bali gamay kay lang kuan lang lugar. So SPS is a Singapore Prison Service are responsible of safe custody, rehabilitation and aftercare of offenders and preventive education. So sa correction sa pillar sa Singapore is na sila ay two clusters. Cluster A and Cluster B is both situated in a Changi Prison Complex. So sa correction pillar sa Singapore sa kuan nila na sila ay 13 facilities. So Singapore katong naingon ni Nicole na sa Singapore is the one of the safest cities in the world. Yes, tinuod siya. Then, it's a relatively high prison population rate. Kanang rather nagakuan sila kanang gamay ra jud ilang crime rate sa Singapore kanang nandili kayo sila kuan. So mao lang to ang correction pillar sa Singapore. So next.
Okay, next one. Wait lang, Bench, ha? Mag-comparative table lang ko, Bench.
Sige.
Sige, paki-off ko sa mic, please. Okay, thank you. So, Singapore versus Philippines. Muna siya ang comparative table nilang duha. Ang Singapore Police Force, muna yung police pillar sa Singapore, as what I've mentioned kaganina. And mauni ang sa Philippines. The MG, IG, PSPG, CIDG, SAF, Aviation Security Group, Highway Patrol, mga HPG, PCRG, CSG, Crime Lab, Anti-Kidnapping Group, and Anti-Cybercrime Group. Next is ang police pillar sa Singapore. The Legal Aid Bureau, Law Society of Singapore, Registrar, Office of the Prosecutor, Court. Ang sa Philippines is ang Office of the Prosecutor, National Prosecution Service, and Public Attorney's Office. Next is ang court pillar sa Singapore, na sila Supreme Court, which includes the High Court and Court of Appeals, the State Courts, the District, the Corners Court, Magistrate, Juvenile, Family, Small Claims Tribunal, Night Court, Community Court, Sharia Court, Traffic Court. And ang Philippines is na ay Supreme Court, Court of Tax of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, Court of Appeals, Sharia Appellate Courts, Regional Trial Courts, Sharia District Courts, Metropolitan Municipal Trial Courts in cities, Municipal Trial Courts, and Municipal Circuit Trial Courts. Next is ang Correction Pillar. Sa Singapore na sila is Singapore Prison Service. Sa Philippines na ay 7 kabuok diri na prison, including the New Bilibid, Iwahig Prison, Penal Farm, Sablayan, Leyte Regional Prison, Davao Prison and Penal Farm, San Ramon Correctional Institution for Women. Ang community pillar is walay community pillar ang Singapore. Ang Philippines lang na ay non-government organization. Okay, go bench.
Good evening. So this is the conclusion of our report. So the strengths is Singapore is implementing one-party rule, which means the appointed nor elected president has the same goal and plans for the country. So pasabot, ang Singapore ay nagpapatupad ng panuntunang isang partido na nangangahulugan na ang itinalagaong na halal na pangulo ay parehong layunin at plano para sa bansa. So dapat unity lang dapat kung unsa man gani ang layunin sa pangulo. So dili sila mo against bitaw kumbaga go with the flow na lang pud sila. Kay para lang pud na sa ilahang bansa. Next is the politician can change his or her party list every election, and the party list are accountable to their politician action. So dili na nila mausab ang ilahang hindi na nila mababago ng politiko ang kanilang listahan ng partido tuwing halalan at mananagot ang listahan ng partido para sa aksyon ng kanilang politiko. Next is everyone can do business inside the country as long as it is legal, regardless of his race. So, bawat isa sila ay maaaring magnegosyo sa loob ng bansa basta ito ay illegal. So, dili tong mga illegal na mga baligya and kahit ang bawat isa ay maaaring magnegosyo sa loob ng bansa basta ito ay hindi legal, anuman ang kanilang lahi. So, next is dito sa weaknesses or sa weakness. So, first is no one can oppose the Prime Minister. He has all the power to rule and no one can stop him. So, walang sinumang makakalaban sa punong ministro. Mayroon siya, kumbaga, siya ang powerful na numuno at walang makakapigil kumbaga sa kanya. Then, asa naman tadapin? They need to conduct next lang, naka-cover din siya sa sa cam. Wait lang ha. Hindi na ma-move. Wait. Naka-cover siya sa cam. Wait lang ha. They need to conduct. Wait lang, di na ako mabasa. Okay, so ilaguhon na lang na ako ni siya explain di kay natabunan mo siya. So diri sa isa ka weaknesses, so kumbaga ang ilang skills ay dapat mas ma-improve and hatagan pa sila more activities to improve, to be efficient, resourceful, and to be stronger police presence. Now, next dito na ta sa recommendation. So in the recommendation, in most of the elected president and vice president, most of them are from the different party list. Okay. Always lead to opposition of the vice president to the idea of the president or vice versa. If we do the one party system, maybe our leaders will be united. So, sabot, sa karamihan ng nahalal na pangulo at vice presidente, karamihan sa kanila ay mula sa magkakaibang listahan ng partido. Palaging humahantong sa pagtutol ng vice presidente sa ideya ng pangulo o kabaliktaran. So, dapat man gud kumbaga kanang dapat unity jud bitaw ang ilahang kanang ang ilahang mga idea or kanang ilang mga layunin. So, kung gagawin daw nila ang kanang sistemang isang partido, marahil ang ating mga pinuno ay magkakaisa. So, ang wilang jud diriya is ang pagka-unity nila. So, dili tong mga balimbing bitaw na politiko. So, next is Terry. Ayun, no, to balimbing politicians. So that politician can take only one side depending on their view, not the president's side. So, despite the ways that we are currently using in our justice system, we also have to consider the techniques that Singapore uses to help us enhance and improve the enforcement of our laws to prevent and low crime rates. So, dapat pud nato ah kanang syempre kita ninyo ang ato ang criminal justice system is namputay ato ang way na sa atong criminal justice system, so mas better pud tong maka-adapt ta sa lain nga country kay though kanang natay lahi-lahi nga kanang way bitaw sa pagpa-improve sa atong criminal justice system, pero mas better man jud tong kanang naputay ma-adapt sa lain kay more mas better pag pag ma-adapt nato sa atong criminal justice system as long as kanang ikaayo na siya. Then lastly is we must adapt the court system in terms of categorizing those cases with particular court in order to respond and give an accurate judgment. So, dito lang mag-end ang among report sa Singapore.